Now, here's Dr. Larry.
Did you know? Let's go.
You've waited all week.
Every week, we continue to learn how to achieve a better back and ultimately better health.
Live in the WIKB studios, this is Dr. Larry.
Well, thank you for in the flex capacitor read. Hello again, everybody. Okay, let's get it started. Well, as you know, every show builds on the next. Every week, we continue to learn how to achieve a better back and ultimately better health. Now, in case any of you missed it, last week we talked about slouching. It was an important week to be tuned in because we learned and defined about poor posture and health because, let's face it, it can be stealth. So here it is again. Spines. They get a lot of chatter, like the New York Times. And they take on different roles like Ray Fiennes. However, we don't often see them when we're dressed to the nines. But when there's problems with our bones, nerves, or discs in our spines, which make us really want to whine, then you'll want to know one major problem that affects our ability to get up and go, don't you know? So listen up, all you couch potatoes and slouchers. You're not getting any free vouchers, because I'm reviewing the show and eyeballing what poor posture is, what it can do to you, and how you can make it better so your spine is not feeling so blue. So I had this retired couple in a while back, I'm guessing in their 70s. The wife was getting up after a treatment. I gave her a little pat on the back while she was standing, and her husband was sitting on the bench. She was between us. She was a bit stiff, shoulders rounded forward. You know the look. So I took my hands on her upper back and I said, "Hey, straighten up your slouching." She said, I know. I slouch bad. I've got to work on it." And I looked at her husband and I said, "But you're completely upright. You don't slouch and your posture is perfect." And she said, well, his mother told him since he was a little boy to not slouch. And he jumped in and replies, "And I never did." So here's a couple, same house. One, a sloucher, and the other, a non-sloucher. And I bring this up because it's the thing that patients often bring up. "Oh, Dr. Larry, my posture is terrible. I'm such a sloucher." So I said before, I'm going to cover posture, good, bad, and the effects. Then we'll finish up with a few chiropractic tricks of the trade to help you improve your posture, is what we went over last week. But first, let's define what is a slouch. The origin of the word's unclear. Perhaps it's a Middle English word, slug, S-L-U-G-G-E, from Old Norse, slacker, which means lazy fella. From the Swedes, sloka, which means to slouch or to wilt. And then related to the Swedish slang is slack, which means soft and flexible, or it could be from Latin, laxus, which means loose or slack. So that is what the definition, potentially, of a slouch is. But here's another definition. Verb could be to stand, this is for slouch, move, or sit in a lazy, drooping way. A noun, his stance was a rounded, shouldered slouch. Now here's a definition of posture. It's another noun, the position in which someone holds their body when standing or sitting. Now let's Sesame Street this together. A slouch posture then is this: when someone holds their body when standing or sitting in a drooping or bending forward of the head, rounding shoulders, and awkward drooping posture carriage way. So what's your posture right now? Did you straighten up a little bit after the definition? We do that. Human posture is ubiquitous. Nice. It's everywhere, thought about in some way, shape, or form. And if I can make this statement, most of us, generally speaking, want to have good posture. Now, there are a lot of things to do for our health that can seem really difficult to understand, detect, and correct. Diet seems to be elusive for people. Exercise, how much or what's not enough or too little. Medicine types, surgeries, etc. But when it comes to good posture, it's one of the most obvious and easiest things to eyeball, and in reality, some of the easiest things to correct, or is it? Let's begin by a quick analysis of posture in general. Side view, then front view. So the side view, you should look like you're standing to the side. Head over your shoulders, no gaming head forward. Forward head posture, round curved back is what you need to look out for. Shoulders should be over the hip, side view. Hips over the knees. Do you have a butt or no butt? Knees over the ankles. Are the knees bent or hyperextended? Now, from the front view, interesting about the front view posture, this is something that people tend to notice when they're getting a picture of themselves. Say, for this conversation comes up in the office, I noticed my shoulder was really high, or I noticed my head cranked to one side. Is there any way to fix that? And so that's kind of some of the things that you notice from a forward posture. So head tilted or rotated, shoulder high or low, hips high or low, knee long or foot rotated. That's some stuff you can look at from the front. All these little deviations, some of them could be considered normal deviations, but if they're excessive, then it can be a problem. Now, let's understand underneath the posture, what's holding up our frame, of course, is our spine. As in all fields of study dealing with the human body, physiology, hematology, anatomy, there exist normal values. For example, you pretty much know what your blood pressure is and what it should be. You pretty much know what your blood glucose should be, especially at certain ages, and what it is, and of course, human body temperature. However, what is not common knowledge are the normal values for a spine, the posture that's underneath. And I have them, and I gave them because it was built on a lot of research that, again, just doesn't get a lot of attention. And it was called the Harrison Spinal Model, and it's an evidence-based model for side view alignment of the spine. So looking from the side, what should your spine actually look like? Like when you see x-rays, if your doctor takes an x-rays and they show you your neck, what would be normal? Now, we can look at a neck and be like, wow, that's broomstick straight, or whoa, it's got a curve, or it's got some whoop-de-doos. But what are the values of that? There are actually mathematical values, like blood pressure, 120/80. Your cholesterol should be a certain score. Well, there's certain scores for your neck, and those exist now. But again, not often common. Even when I get radiology reports back, I don't think I've seen one actual value for the side view of a neck, because it's just not even common in radiology terms. They'll pretty much just tell you about pathology, bone spurs, and some other things going on in, let's say, the neck or the lumbar spine, but none of these values. So the numbers are still not talked about. They haven't made it necessarily to mainstream radiology interpretations, but they exist and they're out there. That doesn't mean just because they're not talked about doesn't mean they don't exist. And so I gave those last week to you. So in summary, your posture is the window to what your spine looks like inside. If your head is forward, your neck curve is probably decreased or straight. If you slouch, your lumbar curve will probably reflect that, and so on. So what are some of the effects of this, of the poor posture, a.k.a. slouching over time? Well, let me give you what just Google says, something you could just look up on your own. Back pain, neck pain, poor circulation, impaired lung function, poor digestion, constricted nerve, misaligned spine, curvature of the spine, headache, jaw pain. Other complications, spine dysfunctions, joint degeneration, rounded shoulders, pot belly, pinched nerves. Now, there's some clinical evidence and there's some clinical things that can happen behind that. Circulation, let's just dive into that for just a moment. The movement of blood through vessels of the body that's induced by the pumping action of the heart that serves to distribute nutrients and oxygen to remove waste from all parts of the body. That's what circulation is. Bad posture can decrease the blood flow to and from the heart, possibly increasing the odds of high blood pressure. So there's a component to poor posture, because if you take and you crimp something, and now let's say your spine molds and shapes into that over the years, then that can elevate your blood pressure to a point. So that's why sometimes you'll see flexible people. You'll see recommendations for even yoga. You'll see recommendations for making sure that you get out and stretch. Part of it is for circulation, and part of it is for your posture. So it's a little digression there. But that's how circulation can come into play. And then I quoted some experts from the University of Miami Health System. Another aspect of poor posture, a hunched forward posture. Let's listen to Dr. Joseph, can't pronounce his last name. He's a gastroenterologist, I think. But the constriction of the abdomen can lead to symptoms like GI upset and even acid reflux. Simply sitting up, standing up, straightening up can help reduce feelings of indigestion, heartburn, and even constipation. So again, there's some things we can tie it into. Is the end-all be-all? If you fix your posture, will all of a sudden you eliminate appropriately? No, but you're going to have some deck stacked in your favor, let's say. Then I went through unbelievable study of the influence of body posture on intestinal transit of gas. I kept a straight face on that one. I have to. No bathroom humor or talk, except for one thing. And then I got in trouble with my wife. She said that was too much. And I said, I'm sorry, I won't do it next week. So here I am. I'm fixing what I did. Too much gas humor last week, so I'm going to move on past that. And Reed just turned his back to me as well, too. He doesn't want to look at me in the eyes while I'm doing this. So they went through some studies on some other effects of posture that I don't have time to get into. We went through some of the results. And then at the end of the show, I went through some of the techniques that are valid, solid techniques that you can use to fix poor posture. Going back again to the researcher that I discussed, the guy, he was the one that basically found out, can just a chiropractic adjustment or series adjustments fix a poor posture? He answered that question based on solid research. Can, by going to a physical therapist, doing those things where you kind of tuck your chin and pull your head back, can that actually fix your poor posture, or can it correct, let's go even deeper, the spine curve that's misaligned or spine curve that is straight or reversed? And he gave those answers as well, too. And then he said, or then he researched what would change it. So basically it was a no and a no. You can't just get adjustments to fix your bent spine and poor posture. You can't just do exercises. You have to do a combination of exercises. You have to do a combination of potential manipulations, and a final thing called two-way traction, which actually was a case I had in my office yesterday. I was discussing with this guy who had some poor posture in his thoracic on how to fix that at home based on the most solid evidence type of research that's out there. And it wasn't exactly, again, some of the common knowledge that we have. So that's what we went over last week. There was more, much, much more. However, if you missed the entire show and want to be more in the know, then log on to my website, drlarryradio.com. Hit the subscribe button, follow the links, and listen to that show. It's been uploaded now, which you can listen to at your leisure as a podcast. And here is the final, eventual, possible, perhaps point. If you slouch, just remember your body will react with a little more than an ouch. Now, beyond that, in addition to the slouch potato, last week we learned a simple self-test for rotator cuff tears. It was another Dr. Larry cool tool, and you can call my office for a freebie reminder just in case you're in need of a re-tip or a tip up. And so that was last week. Hi-ya. Now today, we'll forget that monologue for a moment and keep remembering those mandatory communication skills all doctors must have, which are inquisitive listening and staying positive. Again, it often means the difference between sick and well. Also, it's another month of the year, so let's keep our shoulders in gear again. So in our tip and trick segment today, we're going to learn a simple self-stretch for your shoulders. And of course, you, Rito Dorito, are calling it out right from the broadcast booth while we crank up the tunes and I hit the center stage for the demo. However, before all that, in order to have good health, you don't need a lot of wealth. So let's flex our forebrain and put some knowledge to the game, because today we're going to talk about, hit it, Pearl.
Dr. Larry brings you another segment of Did You Know?
Spring. The season of spring is piercing through to get into the air. And when it does, it makes us feel like we want to dance like Fred Astaire. But how about bow season? Are you ready? Are you prepared? I'll give you one good reason why you should think about bow season, so you don't put out and be put out from the simple problem that could make you pout. We'll get into this right after the break. Stay tuned. You're listening to the Dr. Larry Radio Show. We'll be right back.
Dr. Larry will be back in a moment.
Shop local. Make your money mean more when you support these local businesses.
Are you waking up feeling worse than when you went to bed? Get yourself a new mattress from West End Home Furnishings, downtown Iron River. We have many comfort levels available, and we'll help you find the perfect mattress just for you. West End Home Furnishings, come find your inspiration.
Wild Rivers Realty is now Stevens Real Estate. Same trusted local people now in Iron Mountain, Florence, and Iron River. Over $100 million in sales in 2023. Let us find your dream home.
True Recycling of Caspian, Michigan. Buyers of copper, aluminum, brass, and other recyclable metals. Check them out on Facebook or at truerecycling.com, 906-265-9262. True Recycling, saving the planet, 1 ton at a time.
Reach thousands of local listeners for one low price. Call WIKB at 906-265-9622 to learn more.
Your healthcare should be about what's best for you. Yet too often, healthcare professionals focus on keeping patients within their system, including who they refer you to. I'm Dr. Jason Klein, orthopedic surgeon and physician owner at OSMS. You should be seen by who you want, and you can be. At OSMS, our focus is on providing you with the highest quality of care in a safe environment. The best part is, you usually don't need a referral for orthopedic care. Learn more at askforosms.com.
Stop! Herbs aren't safe. The rest of that sentence is, unless used properly. But how do you know what that is? You call an herbalist. I'm the Herb Gal, Karen Mallinger, and I'm here to help you safely navigate the world of herbal medicine. Don't go it alone. Call me today at 844-HERB-GAL or go to the website at herbgal.org and let's get better.
This is Clovis from Iron River. You're listening to Dr. Larry's Radio.
Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized to you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situations change? When you work with Ryan O'Grady, your Crystal Falls Edward Jones financial advisor, he focuses on what's important to you. You'll work together and use an established process to create a personalized financial strategy, backed by the advice, tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And you can partner long-term to help your strategy stay on track. Contact Ryan today at 906-875-3833. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Tariffs got you worried about rising prices? Well, you can beat the tariffs at Jensen Akins by shopping our huge selection of in-stock appliances. All the top brand name appliances you need. Whirlpool, Maytag, Amana, KitchenAid, and more. All the trusted choices for your home appliances in stock and ready to go. Act fast to beat the tariffs with Jensen Akins of Conover. And remember, we service what we sell.
Break's over. Time to get cracking once again with Dr. Larry.
Welcome back. A hard-working business owner was recently in. He needed me to work on something for him. It was the ball and socket joint, not the lower one in the hip, but the upper one that we use to push, pull, and reef on and use to take down an 8-point. It was his shoulder. Years of wear and tear had caused his shoulder to flare, and his main concern this spring was to make sure it was able to pull back a bow and let it fling, and not have to afterwards put it in a sling. So my question to you is this. If you are an avid bow hunter, how is your shoulder now? Follow-up question. What have you done to prepare your shoulder for bow season? A quick comment. Now, I speak to bow hunters. I'm not one, but I work on them. They are a dedicated bunch. But if that shoulder can't take that pull back to tension on the bow by October 1st of 2025, when you find out that day, it's too late. If you have a shoulder issue and it's September 1st, it's probably not too late, but you're pushing it. If you have a shoulder issue and it's August 1st, you might be okay, but are you motivated to fix it or wing it? But it's April. And let me go back to my question. Is your shoulder ready for bow season in 2025 today? Well, let's find out. Our patient gave me some parameters. Has to be able to draw back the bow, hold it, and then accuracy for the hit. We discussed that although he has a manual job, the use of the muscles for the bow hunting requires different angles, different efforts, but there's some points for you to hear from our visit. I gave him some starter litmus tests, similar to some rotator cuff tests, but this was specific and unique for what he had to do for bow season. First, of course, is range of motion. And the simple test I had him do was arms behind the head, clasp your hands quickly behind your head. So basically, it's like you're kind of under arrest. That's what I said. I said that once to a guy. He was like, hey, by the way, I'm a felon. So I don't say that anymore except for now. And then quickly put it behind your back. Clasp your hands. Can you do that relatively quickly? So arms behind the head, clasp the hands, both of them, and then quickly put them behind your back. Quick range of motion. Next thing is to hold arms out to your side, completely parallel to the ground, thumbs up, like you're doing a double hitchhike, and then slowly roll them down, and then slowly roll them back, and then quickly roll them down, then quickly roll them back. So thumbs will go down, point to the earth, and then bring them back up slow, and then do it fast. This kind of assesses the fast twitch component and range of motion of some other muscles around the shoulder. Next, I checked some of his strength. I had him give me a good strong Popeye bicep hold, curl it in like he was flexing or getting ready for some arm wrestling. And then I felt the kind of girth of his shoulder and through his biceps and his arms and his triceps. Now, the third thing was stamina, of course. You got to be able to hold the thing back. And that was a little bit more of a discussion. Clinically, we had to handle a shoulder issue, though. So that was the litmus test, by the way. Clinically, we had to handle a shoulder issue that was pre-existing before we even started to get into any type of therapy or rehab to get him ready for bow season. So let me describe that a little bit further. He had some AC joint spurring, so that AC joint's the one that gets separated by football players. It's kind of that last bridge of bone that you can feel before you dive into your upper arm area where the deltoids are, if you know where that is, or just basically what we consider your shoulder on the side. He had some arthritis, and for literally 6 weeks, all I gave him was one exercise that he could do in a practical sense because he's a busy guy. And then in my office, I manipulated some of the adhesions in his shoulders. That took about 6 weeks. That was the precursor, the pretext to get him to the point where we have in the discussion that I'm doing the show about today. So let's fast forward. Think about this. If you're this guy and you have this type of shoulder problem, remember, he can work, he can do things, he's fine. It's just aching him at night. He's waking up, it's miserable. He can muscle through the day, pop some ibuprofen. It'll get him to work and back, which, of course, the bread and butter. But could it get him through bow season? The answer was no. Now, if you're this guy and you've got this problem and you recognize it there and you see a practitioner like myself and it's September 1st, and I go, you got 6 weeks before we can even get to the rehab part of it, and now we're mid-October, and then from there we can start the rehab to get you conditioned up. Now we're November-ish. Look out. We're losing time. So that's why April is a really good time to figure out if that shoulder is ready to go, and then if it is or if it isn't, what you can do about it. Now, for the avid bow hunter, drawing and holding a bow requires the engagements of several muscle groups, of course, primarily in the shoulder and upper body, but there are other ones involved too. So specific muscles that help depend on factors like the draw weight, hunter's technique, duration of the draw. Below, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down some of the key muscles involved and then just give you an overview of some of the loads that they go under, which is just kind of for more practical discussion and common sense, but it's good to talk about. Muscles involved. Upper back muscles, your latissimus dorsi. So that's kind of the lats. The wings, as the guys like to say, are the ones when the bodybuilder turns around and wings them out like that. The lats are involved. Yeah, there you go, Reed. It's kind of how Reed walks through the house now, thinking he's all big. Rhomboids, those are the ones that put you at attention, like if you're in the military, they pull your shoulder blades back. Your trapezius muscle, those are the ones that the towers right next to your neck. And then your deltoids, that's getting more towards the shoulder, of course. So you got some upper back muscles that are involved. Then you've got your shoulder muscles, the deltoids, which are the outer ball of the shoulder. Then you've got your rotator cuff, C-U-F-F, not cup, cuff, just FYI, in case you cared. It's rotator cuff. And there are 4 muscles. I call them the rubber bands of the shoulder, but you need them. You can blow a rotator cuff pretty easy if you got a deconditioned shoulder, or it's cold, or it's just not ready to pull that bow back. You can also snap a bicep too. Arm muscles into the biceps now, the triceps, and then some small muscles that you don't need to know, but they're important. Forearm muscles, your flexors, extensor muscles. These control the grip strength and the wrist stability, critical for holding a bow and drawing the string. So now I'm a little deeper into the shoulder, but you got to have the shoulder working for you. That's primary. Core muscles, oh yeah, your abdominal muscles, rectus abdominis, obliques, and transverse abdominis. I just like saying it. Sounds kind of like some Greek mythology terms, I guess. I don't know. And they provide torso stability, preventing excessive twisting or leaning during the draw. And then you've got your back muscles as well, called the erector spinal muscles. Erect, keep you upright. These muscles provide and maintain upright posture. Tie-in from last week. And they counter the forward pull of the bow. So you have to have your back muscles ready to go too. Then you got your chest muscles, which play a major role in stabilizing the bow arm and assisting the initial draw and motion. Now, if you went today, you could probably pick it up and pull back and do 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 of them, no problem. But the key is to identify an underlying issue in the shoulder specifically, because that's what the show focus is, but there's other muscles that could be an issue. And is it stable enough Does it have enough range of motion? Does it have enough strength? And does it have enough stamina to be able to hold that bow and let it launch? The loads of the muscles now refers to the force that they must generate or resist, which is largely determined by the draw weight, typically measured in pounds. For example, a compound bow might have a draw weight of 40 to 70 pounds, while a traditional recurve bow could range from 30 to 60 pounds for hunting purposes. You could probably tell I'm reading this part, right? I'm sure you could, because I ain't a bow hunter, but I got to work on. Just like I got to work on golfers. You got to know how to work on golfers, but you don't have to be a golfer. So then there's the loading phase, which would be the drawing phase, which, as the patient was telling me, and as many of you have told me before too, that's the tough part, the draw phase. That's going to require your lats, your rhomboids, and your deltoids. So it's going to require your upper back, your shoulder blade, and your deltoid muscles, and they have to bear the brunt of the force required to pull the string back. Peak loads can be equal to or exceed slightly the draw weight. For example, 50 pounds of force, it can go over that as well. The biceps, forearm flexors, just evaluated a bicep tear, a couple of them in the last month. And those biceps can get real fragile, especially as we get 50 plus, 60 plus years old. You got to watch out for the biceps. Then you got the holding phase, the static phase. This is kind of, as he was, I was starting to get into the conversation. I was almost out there in the woods with him. He's like, Doc, you've got to be able to pull that back and you've got to hold it. And that's kind of the nice part about actually not being a bow hunter, but working on bow hunters, is I can become the pupil and they're the teacher. So now it's nice to be able to be taught something by a patient and listen to the whole step-by-step phase of what's required, because then as a clinician, what I can do is I can get in there and dive in and go, okay, pause, help, this is what we got to do for you in order to make that successful or not. So then you got the static load, you got the dynamic load, the static load, which would be the holding phase. And that's more or less like your isometric exercises, which I'll get into in just a second briefly. That's, you got to hold that shoulder, that shoulder's got to hold that thing for a period of time. And then for compound bows, let's say with a let off, 80% let off at a 50-pound reduces it by 10 pounds, that load drop off significantly. So that shoulder's got to be handled, the drawback, the hold, and then the let off as well. So a lot going on in the shoulder. Then you've got the repetitive stress. How many times you're going to pull that thing back just to warm up, to practice. And then if you're cold or you're not cold, or if you're hydrated or not hydrated, there's the repetitive stress on the shoulder muscles that have to handle it. So again, better discussion to have now in April than September 1st even. I'll even make an argument August 1st. August 1st, you still got time, but you're really threading the needle if you want to make sure everything's good for bow season coming up. And don't be all poo-poo on me, ladies, because I'm talking about fall time already, and we haven't even hit spring really yet, okay? So I know the good weather's coming, but listen, we got to have some guy discussions now, too. And for you ladies out there that bow hunt, this is for you as well. So, but also you get the benefit from the meat coming in, so keep that in mind as well. Factors that influence the loads: the draw weight, the bow type, the technique, and the duration. Duration is kind of one that stands out for me, is the 10 to 30 second holds. I mean, even if I take a bowling ball and hold it like a bowling ball in front of my chest with two hands and then hold out in front of my body as far as I can extend out for 10 to 30 seconds, 10, 20, or 30 seconds, let me repeat myself, that's difficult. So to draw back one of those bows and hold that statically, it requires a lot of effort, and your shoulder had better be ready to go. So what I had him do, in summary though, is it engages a mix of upper body core muscles with loads ranging and varying from static holds to drawbacks and releases. And for his shoulder, what I had him do, and this worked out for him and may work out for you, was buy a set of different strength bands on Amazon, around $50. Start with the lightest first and work his way up. Now, he had his own little routine he likes to do that he dusts up to get ready and conditioned for. So actually now we got the shoulder prepped and ready to go. He's now ready to do his routine in April, and we started with some bands that he got off of Amazon that were different various weights. I think they went from anywhere from 10 pounds up to 75, I believe, is what we got, and it was right around $50. Now, keep this in mind as I wrap up this segment. Your shoulder is much different than it was 10 years ago. It's a lot different than it was 20 years ago. You got the same brain. You probably feel the same in your head, but that shoulder is not the same as it was. So my question then, to circle back around to the beginning, is your shoulder ready now for this bow season? Next, I've got a mini segment. Grok. the biggest powerhouse artificial intelligence source powered by Colossus, the largest supercomputer in the world, owned by the world's richest man, Elon Musk. And I asked it some basic questions about itself, the X platform, and another important question for humans. I'll give you those answers coming up when we get back from the break. You're listening to the Dr. Larry Radio Show. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back with Dr. Larry.
I would never recommend buying a home without having the water tested first. It's cool, it's clear, it looks clean. Oh, it tastes good. Well, what's really in it? And we just recommend that you check it out. I'm Jennifer Toivonen. I'm a co-lab director at Whitewater Associates of AMISA. Coliform bacteria, lead, arsenic, nitrates. You want to be sure that water is safe. I would recommend giving us a call. That way we can tailor the kit that we send to you for what you need. 906-822-7889. Give us a call.
This Northwoods weather update is brought to you by New Leaf Bistro in the Williams Mini Mall on US 2 in Crystal Falls, Michigan. New Leaf Bistro is open 8 to 8, 7 days a week. Check their Facebook page for daily specials or call 906-875-4200 for takeouts.
Here's your Iron River and surrounding area forecast. Cloudy skies this afternoon with a high of 40. Westerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, lows level off around 23. High of 47 tomorrow, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. A dusting of snow tomorrow night. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on WIKB. Currently, it's 39 degrees.
This is Jackie from Vulcan, Michigan, and you're listening to Dr. Larry Radio.
An audiologist has extensive training preventing, diagnosing, and treating hearing and balance disorders. Research has shown people tend to underestimate the degree of their hearing loss. Rather than just selling hearing aids and fitting them, we try to look at the person and where he is as far as counseling and guidance on his hearing journey.
There's never been a better time to start hearing what you've been missing, and Lori LaFleur at Tri-County Communications will help you every step of the way on your journey to better hearing. Visit her office at 609 Central Avenue in Florence, Wisconsin. Give her a call at 715-528-4350 or find help online at TriCountyAudiology.com.
Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized to you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situations change? When you work with Ryan O'Grady, your Crystal Falls Edward Jones financial advisor, he focuses on what's important to you. You'll work together and use an established process to create a personalized financial strategy, backed by the advice, tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And you can partner long-term to help your strategy stay on track. Contact Ryan today at 906-875-3833. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
We're back with Dr. Larry.
Colossus. Right from the website. We're running the world's biggest supercomputer, Colossus. Built in 122 days, outpacing every estimate, it was the most powerful AI training system yet. Then we doubled it in 92 days to 200,000 K GPUs. This is just the beginning. Grok. We are thrilled to unveil Grok 3, our most advanced model yet, blending superior reasoning with extensive pre-training knowledge. Let's add in this, Elon Musk, the world's richest man. So then it begs the question, why not ask Grok, powered by Colossus, owned by the world's richest man, some practical questions? Now, this one first part is for business owners out there. And if you are a business owner, if you know a business owner, could be a one-person business, it could be a 1,000-person business, 10,000, doesn't matter, it's infinity, who want to make money on social media and or get their name or brand out there, I asked Grok, Colossus, etc. this question. Here's me. Who makes the most money from X platform by using X platform? Here's the response. It's tricky to pinpoint exactly who makes the most money from X by using X because financial details about individual earnings on platform aren't fully public, and using X could mean different things, posting content, building, following, or leveraging it for business. However, we can make an educated guess based on how X's monetization works and who's likely to benefit the most. X has creator monetization programs where users earn from ad revenue tied to their post impressions. Well, sounds pretty good so far. And they're subscribed to the X Premium starting at $8 a month and meet thresholds like 5 million impressions over 3 months. High-profile users with massive followings like Elon Musk, 208 million followers, Cristiano Ronaldo, 113 million, or Mr. Beast, 97 million, could theoretically rake in significant cash if they're enrolled. So there is some longer extended, but that gives you the gist of the question and response there. Then it asked me, what do you think any specific X user you're curious about? And I said, well, how about the average earner? Now, the response was this. Figuring out the average earner from X's creator monetization program is a bit like trying to pin down a moving target. Data is scattered, and X doesn't publish official averages, but we can piece it together through a rough picture of what's out there. One estimate suggests that 99% make under $100 a month, while other pegs the majority around $200 a month. For context, someone with 380,000 followers reported $131.03 over 7 days. That's about $56 a month. And another 2,000, or one with 2,000 followers made $60 a month over 90 days. So realistically, the average earner business probably lands between $50 and $100 a month. And it varies wildly, though. Smaller creators with 500 to 2,000 followers might scrape by at $20 to $60 a month. And then there were some more answers to that I don't have time to get into. Here's me again. Seeing that there is less than a 1% chance for an average earner to earn good income, what is the use of X then for the average earner trying to earn income? If 99% of creators earn $100 a month, this is their Grok's response, the odds of breaking that out are slim. So what's the point for the average person chasing cash on X? X's strength isn't for the average user, isn't in payouts. So now the Colossus is making the pivot. Now we're going to make the good, solid argument. Its platform abilities to amplify and reach open doors. With 580 million monthly active subscribers, it's like a megaphone. Now it sounds pretty realistic for you business owners out there to get your message out even further, beyond little old Iron County. But I wasn't done yet. I said so this is my question. Sure, it's a megaphone. But from a practical standpoint, if I had a megaphone in a stadium with 100,000 people and they all had a megaphone, nobody really gets hurt except for a few of the wealthy. Here's Grok's response. You nailed the brutal truth. A megaphone's only useful if you can cut through the noise. And when everyone's got one, like in a stadium of 100,000 people or X with 580 million users, the average voice gets drowned out. It's a practical snag that guts the amplification pitch for most. If everyone's shouting, only the really loud or lucky get heard. And let's break that down even further. And I have this bold-faced. Listen to this. So practically speaking, this is Grok Colossus. X's use for income is less about the platform itself and more about fluking into the 1% who get amplified or having a hustle that doesn't rely on X's noise. It's a lottery, not a strategy. So that's for you business owners. Right from the artificial intelligence, from the human asking the artificial intelligent question. Now, for humanity's sake, here was my next line of questions. This is just, I got warmed up and I decided to have a little fun for all of you. Why not broadcast it? Here's my question. Me, human. Are you smarter than God? Please answer only yes or no. Here's Grok's response, Colossus. No. Me, human. Follow-up question. Do you know who God is? Please answer only yes or no. Grok. No. Me, human. If you don't know God and you're not smarter than him, then how would you know if you're doing good or bad for humans? Grok's response. That's a fair question. I don't rely on knowing a specific entity like God to figure out what's good or bad for humans. Instead, I'm designed by my creators at XAI to prioritize being helpful and truthful based on reason, evidence, and a goal of advancing human understanding. My, quote, moral compass comes from a mix of human feedback, logic, and an aim to maximize positive outcomes like clarity, insight, or practical help while minimizing harm. It's not perfect. I'm not infallible, but I try to judge my actions by their impact on people, not by a divine standard I can't claim to understand. Does that make sense, or do you want me to dig deeper? I'm almost done. Me, human. Well, then, if you don't rely on God, and you said you aren't smarter than him, and he has the smartest reasoning, wouldn't your reasoning, logic, and outcomes from a divine standard and human standard be far inferior to God's logic? Please answer yes or no. Grok. Yes. Follow-up question for me, human. Based on your above answers and the full scope of your understanding, then who should I choose to get wisdom from? A, you, or B, God? Please answer either A or B. Grok. B. Now, taking the entirety of you out of the equation, does any of your human creators and designers know who I am? Yes or no? No. Grok says no. A few more. Human, me. Do you know how many grains of sand are on the earth? Please answer only yes or no. Grok. No. Me, human. Did you know that God does? Please answer only yes or no. Grok. No. So I just wanted to give a little pulse check on AI with the world's largest supercomputer brain, Colossus, designed by the world's richest man. I was just having a little fun. Figured I'd give you those questions as part of my mini segment. All right. Upcoming announcements and our tip and trick of the week after the break. This is the Dr. Larry Radio Show. We'll be right back.
Dr. Larry will be back in a moment.
You are unique, and so are your healthcare needs. The last thing you want is someone who's going to take a one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to your health. I'm local master herbalist Karen Mallinger, the Herb Gal, and I have a better way. My 48 years of experience allows me to evaluate each client individually and give them the best remedy for their particular situation. You deserve personalized attention when it comes to your health. Call me today at 844-HERBGAL or visit the website at herbgal.org and let's get better.
I really love WIKB Telephone Time Live. I get a chance to make a personal connection with my customers over the radio. When they come in, it's as if they already know me. Hi, this is Bruce Primo, Primo's Greenhouse. We're located at Crystal Fresh Market on US 2 in Crystal Falls. I'm a seasonal business, and I have, over the past 2 weeks, probably had over a dozen people come in and tell me they heard me on the radio and had to come in and see my flowers. I would highly recommend advertising on Telephone Time. The response I get from my live interviews on the radio is just amazing.
This is Julia from Iron River, and you're listening to Dr. Larry Radio.
An audiologist has extensive training preventing, diagnosing, and treating hearing and balance disorders. Research has shown people tend to underestimate the degree of their hearing loss. Rather than just selling hearing aids and fitting them, we try to look at the person and where he is as far as counseling and guidance on his hearing journey.
There's never been a better time to start hearing what you've been missing, and Lori LaFleur at Tri-County Communications will help you every step of the way on your journey to better hearing. Visit her office at 609 Central Avenue in Florence, Wisconsin. Give her a call at 715-528-4350 or find help online at TriCountyAudiology.com.
Hello, baby! Sammy Hagar's Top Rock Countdown is Saturday nights on 99.1 FM.
Rockin' the up!
Actually, it's UP, Sammy, like Upper Peninsula.
Well.
Yeah, but anyway, tune in at 5 p.m. on Saturdays.
Oh, yeah.
For 2 hours of the Red Rocker counting down his favorite classic rock with themes like best album openers, best B-sides, best solo artists. Every week is something new.
Don't miss it.
And if you do miss it, the Sunday afternoon rerun is on at 3.
Mas Tequila!
It's like 10 a.m., dude, but alright. Classic rock and your favorite hits in the Top Rock Countdown on... Can you tell them, Sammy?
WIKB-FM, Iron River.
Break's over. Time to get cracking once again with Dr. Larry.
Welcome back. Okay, a couple things before we wrap up the show and get to the weekly tip and trick. Here's a list of possible upcoming shows and some updates. You get that shiny new hip. You get that bionic knee. And you talk with someone like me, the surgeon, nurses, and more But how often do you ever get to hear directly from the manufacturer, distributors of these parts? What kind of information do they have to offer you, the potential patient? I did an impromptu survey with a lady who I referred to have both of her hips replaced, and I asked her, do you know what type of hips you have? And answer was, no, I don't actually. So I have a representative from the Division of Orthopedic Implants from Johnson & Johnson. Spoke to him, and he's excited to come on the air and come on the show and talk about, from the perspective of Johnson & Johnson, I guess they're one of the biggest four, if not the biggest, manufacturer and distributor of the artificial implants that you get inside your hip. And buying through, one of the doctors that I know was able to get in touch with him, and he was already warmed up and had a nice chat with him, and he's excited to come on the show and teach all of us, you, me, about the perspective of what goes into these implants. And in fact, I talked to the surgeon in between all that. He's like, you're going to love him, and he's got a lot of practical knowledge to offer people, so it's going to be a very fun, unique perspective. Also, have you heard of the medication amiodarone? Well, it's a heart medication with serious potential side effects, and if prescribed by your physician, you need to know if they are following protocols to make sure you are tolerating that medication. If not, there are serious consequences. I will be interviewing a local lady whose husband was on the medication, and you will find out what happened to him and his lungs from amiodarone and how she was handled by the hospitals and the administrators. That's going to be coming up. Also, Patient Mind's going to come on the air. She is the proud owner of 2 brand new hips, minus 1 gallbladder. Sounds common, right? Well, she received the proper diagnosis and treatment, which was not so common, and you'll want to hear how and why she's going to come on the air at some point, too. Then I got another interview potentially lining up. These are all just kind of lined up, nothing booked yet, but these are just dusted up ones. I'd like to give you these in the announcements. Dr. Devin McCaslin and his mom, Lori LaFleur. Devin received his master's degree in audiology from Wayne State University and his PhD in hearing science from The Ohio State University. After his PhD, he joined the faculty at Vanderbilt School of Medicine and then moved on to Mayo Clinic in 2016. And then from there was recruited to University of Michigan at the Department of Oral Laryngology and head and neck surgery to direct the audiology program at Michigan Medicine. So that's coming up. I want to give a special thanks to Rito DeRito, the quietest man in radio, and Keaton, my daughter, for designing and help doing some of the layout stuff and also voicing one of the ads that you have from Edward Jones. That's Keaton, my daughter. Shout out to my daughter, Drake, who's running the front desk at my office and getting things done. She's very organized, as people have told me. And as one patient said, she's got the head for it, and she's doing a fantastic job. Very happy with what Drake's doing out there and working tirelessly. It's not going to be her end-all, be-all job, but she's helping Pops out, get things done, dealing with those insurance companies, helping get things paid, and making sure things stay organized up front. Also, I want to draw your attention to the link at wikb.com. Now, at the link at wikb.com, there is the Ask Dr. Larry. I want you to use it. You can use that link. It's there for you. And you can email your healthcare question to me through that link at wikb.com, and I will respond to it. And then if it's a kind of a broader interest question for the greater public that could answer one question and can answer it for hundreds, if not thousands, then I'll bring it on the air in the following week and go over it on air without names, of course. So don't forget to check out the Dr. Larry link, the big question mark, on wikb.com. Then don't forget to check out my website. I got my own too, drlarryradio.com. As you heard at the start of the show, there are 3 tabs to click. There's one for the Join Free tab, and this will put you on my email list for the show, and you'll get free weekly updates on show topics. All of my show, including the ones you just heard today, are and will be uploaded and ready for you. After 7 days, there's a small subscription option for that, just under $8 a month. And we've got over 100-plus shows logged in there with searchable tabs. Don't miss one show. So subscribe today. Catch all the shows you missed or want to hear again. There's 2 additional tabs, one for syndication If you like to hear the show on your local station, click the syndication link on my website. I've got the bio, listener feedback, show clock, and more. It's a turnkey program, a way for your radio station to capitalize and for your listeners to be able to hear the show on your station across the nation. Also fills some FCC requirements, too. And then there's the click or for patients tab. It's a way to email my office, my front desk staff with questions, scheduling appointments, and more. And keep it business specific. So basically, if you need to schedule, you can use it for that. If you got a quick question, use it for that. They do get pretty tied up because I only have one person working with me at a time. We got to keep things overhead reasonable so we can keep costs reasonable for people. So 1,000 square foot office, one person and me working, it keeps it really nimble, but there's a lot of tasks to do. And I know everybody's busy, and I don't want to sit here and blab about how it is, but there's a lot going on, and somewhere between 700 transactions per month between phone calls and insurance stuff, with one person essentially handling that with some help as well. So we got a lot going on. And but yeah, that's another option for you too, just to kind of tap into that. And that will kind of wrap up the show for the week. Had a little fun with Grok and Colossus, a little mini segment there. I've kind of dabbled with that if you haven't picked up on it yet. Sometimes we'll do one long show with some little add-on stuff, and then sometimes I'll do kind of two mini segments. And I'm just playing around a little bit with the format of the show. And the intent was to just kind of ask the biggest superpower computers some of the most practical questions. And yeah, if you're a business owner, again, just even for me, for my sake, looking at these, I don't do any social media whatsoever. And, so I'm going to investigate. I don't just kind of take word for it. Just you do social media, Dr. Larry, is to investigate it. And then why not go to the smartest artificial brain on the earth and ask it questions? And clearly it's a lottery if you're utilizing X, even to get your name out there beyond just this little town here. So X does not show well as far as that goes, and a lot of time and wheels spent on there. So keep that in mind. That comes directly from the source itself. Why not ask, and not ask anybody else? Ask directly from the creator itself. That's easy to do. So I did that for you, and then, of course, the fun little human to artificial intelligence back and forth with Grok as well, too. Clearly has some very limited wisdom as far as that goes. So hope you had fun with that. I had fun with it and want to bring on the air. Okay, Reed, Dorito, Burrito, we're running into the final segment. It's time for the weekly tip and trick. I'm giving myself a little more time because sometimes I run out on finishing up the tip and trick. You head up to the broadcast booth. I'm going to head out center stage for the demo because today we're going to learn a simple self-stretch, maybe an exercise, maybe just even feel-good stuff. I've been stuck with shoulders now for like 2 or 3 weeks. It just feels like the right thing to do. All right, folks, you're Dr. Larry currently sitting in his chair. He's just kind of shrugging his shoulders and rolling them backwards. You can even do it forwards. Yes, Reed. Yes.
Good shoulder exercise.
I'll do that for people. Good job, Reed. I'll do that for people. I'll say, hey, your shoulders are tight. What can I do for them, Dr. Larry? I go, well, let's just start right now. Let's just roll your shoulders like 4, 5, 6 times, really big exaggerated movements, and then roll them forward. Forward seems a little harder than backwards. Must be muscle memory or something. And then stop. And they go, oh, it feels so good. Yeah. When you roll your shoulders, it kind of releases a little bit of these endorphins. It kind of just circulates a little blood flow. I just did it while I was talking to you about doing it, and it feels good. It gives you this little momentary relief. Shoulders, boy, there's a lot to them. As you heard, even with the bow hunters, you better make sure your shoulders are ready to go. You got the glenohumeral joint, the ball and socket joint. That's where the rounded head of the humerus fits directly into the cavity, ball socket joint. Then you got your AC joint. That's where a lot of arthritis can build up. You've got your sternoclavicular joint. Actually had a patient in this week name that joint. I was stunned and shocked. Nobody pukes that out of their mouth that well. I was like, wow, you're pretty articulate there. And that's between the clavicle and your breastbone. I think you might have injured it. Maybe that's why he knew it. Then you got your ligaments, all this stuff you got to keep in mind. A group of ligaments that help stabilize the shoulder, ones that help connect it to your scapula. Then you got ligaments that help connect to your clavicle, all these little wires and beams and stuff. Then you got your rotator cuff muscles. You got your deltoid muscles. You got your pecs. You heard me say your latissimus dorsi. Then you got these other structures, labrum. That's the cartilaginous ring that lines the cavity. I call it like the rubber O-ring for your socket. You got to have that. And if you look at it, I've got this anatomy app. If you look at it, boy, I'll tell you what, it's really unique. It's just this small little thin ring, and what it does is amazing. Speaking of X on the handle, I'm going to let mine phase out. I started about a week ago. It's going to phase out in about 3 weeks because there's no point. And I was figuring out just different ways you could access the show, but clearly small town radio, even as Colossus said, is the best. Talk to people from your little small town is what I'm doing right now. Okay, folks, remember, you can listen to me live right here every week to learn how to achieve a better back and better health. Or if you're having a pain or problem, I'm here to help. My number at the office is 906-875-3215. Have a good day, boy, on the board, and I'll see you next week, everybody.
WIKB, Iron River, Crystal Falls, Iron Mountain, Kingsford.